Stop to United Auto Sales. It's never hard to find a vehicle here. The lot is always loaded with cars, trucks, SUVs. Just take a look. I'll bet we have it, and if we don't, we'll buy it for you. United Auto Sales on Commercial Drive in Yorkville, where it's always easy to do business.
What's cracking, everybody? Welcome to a Stupid Computer Day here on EC Radio. You were live on all Disruption Network social media platforms. You can check us out on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And then we wrap it up into a nice little podcast that you can listen to at your leisure, at your discretion, at DisruptionNetwork.net. Shout out to my sponsors, United Auto Sales. Stop down in their showroom, 4994 Commercial Drive in Yorkville. See why it's easy to do business with United. Shout out to EJA Moving Services. Joey's at 307. Billy the Liquor Guy's got a book out there called Under Too Long. Check it out on Amazon or wherever you get your books. Thank you, Utica Coffee, Saranac Brewery, my attorney, Dave Longaretta, and, of course, one of my favorite sponsors, not that they're not all my favorite sponsors, but Ballsy, ballwash.com. Use promo code members only for a 15% discount. And my guest today, Mr. Rob Derhak, is no stranger to hearing me talk about nut rub and ball wash.
I've been hearing you talk about balls ever since I've known you, so I don't know whether it's yours or your buddies. I don't know, man. I have yet to try out the ball wash though. That's gonna have to be my next step in hygiene.
But your balls are iconic in the Mo scene because it was mayor of Moville at one time. Don't you think they should be smelling fresh and clean?
Well, I'm not saying they don't smell fresh and clean, but you know. Maybe take it to the next level.
I'm telling you, nut rub changed my life. It really has. You put a little swoop and dupe on there, and it smells good. You don't sweat. You just swoop and dupe, and you don't sweat. You don't chafe. You can go along throughout your day really nice, and it's a nice, comfortable feeling, too.
Is it a situation for the shaved or unshaven, or does it not matter?
It doesn't matter, but if you aren't shaved, if you got a Wookiee on your cookie, it gets clumped up a little bit, and you're dealing with some clumps and maybe a little flaking afterwards if you don't shower for a couple days.
Interesting. Clump.
We're off to a great start. Rob, it's great to see you, man.
Right out the bat.
Thanks for taking the time with me today. I'd be a bad friend if I didn't start this podcast by asking about Chuck and how Chuck's doing and how he's feeling these days.
You're a good friend, Z. That's what you are. Chuck that's just a stupid line from one of our songs. Chuck's doing good, man. I mean, you know, I've been keeping pretty close touch with him, but I actually haven't talked to him or seen him since Thursday. Usually it's more than that, which is, 4 or 5 days ago. But he's been doing therapy, doing physical therapy and speech therapy almost every day. It's one or the other, or sometimes both. So, everyone's saying that he's, the recovery looks like it's going to be, full, and like he's doing really great for where he is right now, they say. But there's still a lot of work to do for him. So we're just, trying to keep him motivated and talking to him. And every once in a while I'll put the pressure on, like, dude, you got to fucking be playing your guitar. Come on, let's go. But I don't know if that's helpful or not. I try to be helpful, but it is going to take a while.
I feel like you are that guy for tough love, right? And you're the tough love guy of the crew.
Me?
Yeah.
I'm trying to soften my edges, and I don't know how much it's going to work. I did go to Whitesboro. There's not really a lot of soft edges in Whitesboro, so it's kind of hard.
Yeah. Growing up in upstate New York in Whitesboro, Utica, the 315 area, you do got to have thick skin to grow up around here.
Yeah.
Speaking of Whitesboro, man, I've always been curious. Who was your bass mentor? Was it somebody locally here in Utica?
No. I didn't start until I was in college.
Oh, is that right?
I was way, yeah. I never played in high school. I didn't start playing bass until I was 19, I think, and I graduated when I was 17. I was either 19 or 20 around then.
What made you start?
Oh, lack of anything else that it was weird. Like anything else, probably a girl, kind of thing. Like, wanting to prove to the last girl that dumped me that I wasn't a piece of shit. Maybe, but I went to University of Buffalo, and my roommate was my roommate was a guy. I was 19, I was 18, 19, and 19, and he was a Vietnam vet. He was 38 years old. My roommate in the dorm, he was massive. He was like 6'5", like nearly 300 pounds, 280 or something. But he was the nicest guy in the world. And he took me under his wing a little bit, and he had a guitar, and I learned how to play guitar, just fucking around with his, and I just fell in love with it. And then it wasn't, I think like I made it through just that year, and I bought a bass at Nicotera's, and when I went home in Utica, and I just never looked back. I just fell in love with it, and I just couldn't stop playing. It was like I knew like that's what I was meant to do.
You just gave me a flashback of Nicotera's, which is the smallest music store in the world. It was in a garage, and it was the biggest fire hazard ever, right? There was shit all over the place.
They had the most cars and stuff of anybody, and it was in the smallest amount. Like, you ask them for something, like, oh yeah, hold on, and they just get a ladder, get behind something on top of it. It was crazy.
Right, they'd have to move 5 boxes to get to whatever you wanted, and then dust it off because it was probably sitting there since the 60s.
Yeah, yeah, you could find like serious vintage gear that hadn't even been used yet there.
Right,
it had been sitting in the corner underneath a pile of dust.
Or right next to the old man sitting in the corner.
Yeah, it was his daughter, I guess, or was his daughter or wife? I think it must have been his daughter.
It was his Rosemary. Yeah, Rosemary.
Yeah.
Hiya, honey.
Yeah. I bought some it was a Beatle bass copy, they call it. It's like a Beatle bass. The Beatles played this bass. It was, like one of those hollow bodies, but it was, it was a Clera, it was called, Klira, and it was a Hohner hollow body copy. And she's like, and the best thing about this is when you move up to the next level, come back and we'll give you all your money back and you can buy something nicer. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I played it for about 6-7 months, brought it back. He's like, well, I'm not giving you all your money back. And I'm like, well, you told me you were. You said you'd buy it back at the same price. She's like, no, nobody does that. I was a kid. I didn't know.
She scammed you.
I don't know. Or, I just heard something else. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, who the hell knows? I have a tendency to hear what I want and not, what people are actually saying to me.
That woman reminded me of every Italian aunt ever. Right? She's just like your quintessential Italian aunt. She had like a sauce and meatballs going while she was trying to sell people Fender Strats.
I didn't have an Italian aunt, but I had my neighbors were all Italian aunts, so aunts and uncles.
And you do have a Vinny Amico, though.
I got an Amico.
Yeah, you do have an Amico, which means friend in Italian.
That's like having 6 Italian aunts.
Speaking of Vinny, you formed this new band, Blue Star Radiation, which is a killer. To me, it's like it's the Avengers of the jam band world coming together. and I could see why you picked Vinny, because you guys have been locked in for so many years. But how'd you pick Tim, Paul, Mary?
How did we pick Tim? It started was me and Nate Wilson were had been conspiring to do something together for years, because a million years ago we had a band called Swamp Donkey that we played with, and Tim just came up from Nate's end. Maybe it was Vinny. I don't know. We're throwing names around, and we didn't really know. We're looking for guys because we live all in New England, Well, Vinny doesn't, but he's close enough. So we're trying to find guys close, and well, Tim's got a million things going on, but we could ask him. Maybe he'll be into it. And Nate got in touch with him, and just was just like, yeah, he's down. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I didn't really know what to expect. And, you know, as soon as he started playing with us, you're just like, okay, well, this dude's fucking legit, man. He's insane.
He's on his own level.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, it was just like, well, that's the band. And even Vin was like, I was blown away by like Vinny's sort of change when he started playing with us, you know, with this configuration. It's like a different drummer. He just starts like fucking beating the shit out of it. I went deaf by the end of the freaking 4-day tour we did, and the rehearsals between Vinny beating the shit out of his drums and Tim cranking the amp. I brought like a little tiny practice amp with me, thinking, like, I asked the guys, I'm like, is this going to be enough? Are we going to be quiet on stage? And they're like, oh yeah. We play to whatever the room requires. And just no. So I have to go out with a much bigger rig next time around.
Do you remember the first time you heard Tim Palmieri play?
First time I heard him, honestly, I think is when he sat in with us at Modown. I don't think I had actually seen him. It was either I watched. Oh, you know what? I saw him. The Breakfast open up for us in Philadelphia a million years ago. We were playing an outdoor gig in Philly, and I saw him play then, and he was killing it. But I really noticed, like, he sat in on something. I don't know what the hell we played at Modown a million years ago, and he just like kept like pushing and taking it to another level. It was just like, wow, holy shit, this dude's a shredder.
Yeah, that's for sure, man. I haven't seen you guys live, but I did see a couple videos, and it looked like you're having the time of your life up there, man.
Yeah. Well, we played kind of close. We were at the what's it called, the Westcott in Syracuse.
Yep.
But yeah, that was our first gig. I definitely felt like really invigorated playing with these guys, and it's just like a lot of energy, and it was fun as hell because it's all, you know, most of it's like new material to me. So that was kind of cool too, just doing a completely different thing.
Yeah.
The freshness.
You got to go back and do some homework, right?
Yeah, I didn't like that part of it. But definitely have to homework. And now, like, after doing that weekend, I'm like, oh, not only do I have to do homework, I have to actually practice because I'm like the worst dude in the band now. Like, what the hell?
You got to keep up on those chops to hang with Tim.
I mean, I might have been the worst dude in Mo, but I never noticed it.
And, you know, and Nate's no slouch either. I remember him back in the day with Percy Hill and then the Nate Wilson band. He used to come through Utica a lot, the electric company back in the day. And Nate's another one that shreds. Like I said prior to this conversation, is like you formed the Avengers in the jam band world. Yeah, absolutely, man. And we're gonna kill all the evil jam bands out there and take them all down. You guys plan on doing an album or anything, or is this just something to screw around with? Are you going to take it a little serious, or just it is what it is type of thing?
We're sort of in between those two things. Like when we're together, we're like, dude, let's write our own material. Let's do this. And then, like, as soon as everybody has to go and do their day jobs, it's just like realizing the amount of hours in the day just aren't enough. So we don't have anything planned and in the works, but we were supposed to play this weekend coming up, and those, you know, COVID kind of screwed us with that stuff. But we're rebooking those gigs, and I think I'm just going to start sending them. The thing is, I have more originals that just haven't been played and haven't been done with anybody. So I'll just keep sending them to those guys, and hopefully they'll have some of that material too. And maybe an album will come of it. I'd love that.
Are you a lyric guy first or a melody guy first when you're writing?
They both kind of come to me together. So like I come up with like not all the lyrics, but I'll come up with a line and a melody, like a hook. The hook comes to me first, generally, and then I have to kind of go back from there. So the hook always comes as a melody with words or close to the words that I want. sometimes, you know, like I'll get the hook and the words will just be a little cheesy. So I have to, you know, or just like really obtuse, you know, singing about like a foot or something. And then I'll just kind of change it a little bit, you know.
Are you a voice memo guy? Like singing into your voice memos on your phone? That's your technique?
Yeah, driving. You know, you hear the road in the background, and then me like singing into my freaking voice memo, and then I forget that I even have that shit, and I go back and like, oh my god, I did this like 5 years ago, and it's still on my voice memos somehow. And it never goes anywhere, you know. Like every once in a while, I do have one that I did a long time ago that just I can't get it out of my head, and I also can't do anything with it. You know, there's still haven't been able to happen, but it's like it's, you know, it's so ingrained in my head. Like I used to have this theory about writing songs, and I wouldn't record or write down any of it. And this was like, you know, in the early days, when I was writing a lot of the stuff like that was on Head Seed and No Doy, the like songs from that era. I would write stuff a lot of times while I'm doing manual labor, you know, like I'd be out mowing lawns and stuff, working my day job or whatever it was. And then I would refuse to write anything down until it really stuck in my head, because then I knew if it was going to stick in my head that long, then it was worth doing. Otherwise, if I lost it and forgot it, it was just crap. I don't know if that was necessarily right, because I stopped doing that after a while, but there was a lot of, you know, that was sort of my method in the early days.
Would you go back and piece some of the material, like kind of glue some material together? You had one thing you were working on and then go back to something else that you're working on, just kind of go back into the archives on your voice memo?
I haven't tried that, no, but I'll have to go and listen. Like I do, like I said, I have the one thing, but that's also been stuck in my head, so I don't even need the voice memo for it.
That's good that you got that memory like that, though, bro.
Well, it's selective for sure. It's like I don't, you know, like I forget, like, you know, I'm the guy who walks into a room holding something and like, why the hell did I do this? What am I looking for? Where, you know, or, you know, like I have no idea what I'm doing. So it's like stuff when it comes to music is different, but like just day-to-day activities, I feel like I'm slipping pretty hard, like an old man.
Is melodies coming to your head every day? Is this something that goes on every day, or is there a point where you have this writer's block type of thing?
And I have a pretty good creative window going right now, and it hasn't closed in a while. But I have been in that situation where I've been, you know, kind of screwed and just like nothing. I find like little activity, like manual, just, you know, doing activities and trying to keep some physical stuff going on is very helpful for that. And sometimes just forcing yourself, just sit down, like when you're really screwed with writer's block, just sit down and make the worst freaking possible song you can make and just keep doing it until it doesn't suck anymore. But well, I've been fortunate that my window's been pretty good lately. You know, it's been, I almost have to take a break from it because it's a little overwhelming.
Yeah. Right. Do you exercise? Do you keep active when you're sitting around the house? And how do you keep active?
Well, honestly, I've been kind of lame for the last couple of years, but I used to play lacrosse like 2 or 3 times a week still, you know, like, and I gave up on that. After I got cancer, I tried playing again. And the first thing I did after like having cancer and, you know, getting through it was break my fucking ribs. So I was just like, you know what, this really isn't going to work for me anymore. So I've just started going back to the Y and just doing, you know, weights and cardio and, you know, keeping it light, but that's about all I can handle. I hike with the dog and weights, cardio, bike, stuff like that.
Yeah, something to get the heart rate up a little bit, but not overdo it.
Yeah. I can't. I know. I can't. I mean, I got too many weird physical things going on. I also had like a foot operation last year that
damn
screwed me up for months.
What was up with your foot?
Oh, it's just, it was elective surgery for a bunionectomy, but my feet were so bad that like it was like I have pins and all this other crap in my foot to make it right. And I was like on one of those knee scooters. And that was like 3 months. I was laid up for like 3 months.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
How do you combat that? I'm sure that kind of put effect on your mental health a little bit, right? Being laying around. I feel like you're an active type of guy, like sitting around the house can really eat at you.
Yeah, I mean, what about you? If you couldn't like do shit for like, you know, like what would you do? My wife is like, I'm not ready for you to go through that again, because I was like, I got to do my other foot. And she's like, I'm not ready for that, because the next foot means I can't drive. It's my right foot.
Oh, no way.
So I don't know. I probably won't even bother going through the other one. It was, you know, it destroyed me like mentally.
Oh, I bet.
And I gained like 100 pounds or something. So, you know, I gained a ton of weight just sitting around and eating and drinking.
Yeah. Eating when you're just sitting around bored, man, that's not a good trait to fall into at all. Not at all. Sitting around eating bonbons and cheese, watching football, it can really put you could turn into Jabba the Hutt really quick.
That was me. Bonbons and cheese.
Bonbons and cheese. You know, it's the middle of January right now, and usually we're in like Jamaica or on a cruise or something. What do you prefer? Do you prefer the excursions or the cruises better?
Excursions.
Excursions?
Yeah, well, I like. Yeah, I mean, I really like going to Jamaica. I mean, the cruises are fun, but nowadays, like, I can't even. The thought of being on a boat, you know, trapped with just a bunch of, you know, all it takes is one person to be sick.
Yeah.
To fuck the whole boat, you know, like, so that just seems like real dicey to me. The cruise, I mean, the jam cruises are nuts, you know, they party hard, you know, man. I can't even keep up with them. They're all much younger than I am too, but I try. I know Al really tries. Al freaking pushes himself hard on those things. But the thing is, like, I like going to the beach and just chilling and having like I'll drink a Bloody Mary on the beach or a freaking margarita or something and just sit there and go in and out of the water. So like, I'd rather do that than, you know, just walking around in circles on a boat.
I'll tell you, man, Jamaica was the best vacation I was ever on back in 2019. Was it 2019? Yeah, it was 2019 was the last one, right?
Was I think so. Or was that Jam Cruise?
I don't know. It's all these years seem as one, but that Jamaica, it's so much fun.
It's crazy, yeah. I want to go back for sure. We got to make that happen again.
Is that something that you guys would talk about putting on like a long-term type of plan? Obviously, you got to probably wait for Chuck to get better, right?
Yeah, I mean, we talk about it, but you know, then we also are like, who wants to go to Iceland? So the Iceland thing was going to happen, and that, you know, before Chuck got sick or before Chuck had his stroke. And, you know, that seems like a fun idea too, but like, I would love to go to Jamaica like every single year and just make that a thing.
Indeed.
I'm totally down with that.
Whose idea was Iceland? Where does that come from?
I'm not going to say it was my idea, but I jumped at the chance because I was there once for like 16 hours on a layover, and I really want to go there. And I'm you know, I'm a freaking Viking, so I want to. I felt at home. I felt like this is like where I'm supposed to be when I was there. So it's pretty cool. It's beautiful. It's a wild looking place, man.
I'd love to check that out.
Have you ever been there?
No, man. No. And I was definitely considering hanging with you guys, but obviously it didn't happen. But is that something you're going to reschedule? Yeah,
that's going to happen. And I just don't know when yet. We got to, you know, everything's up in the air for us. So.
Right.
But everybody's still down, and the guys at, you know, that want to do the shows are definitely behind us still. As far as that's what I'm told, anyhow. But I'm psyched to go there for sure. I'm open, man. I don't have a lot going on right now, so I'm like fixing shit around the house. I'm building cabinets and fucking screwing in light bulbs.
Are you a handy guy?
Pretty handy. I'd say I'm learning. Like I'm a YouTuber, but I've been doing it for a bunch of years. I've done a lot of work around that house and built a lot of stuff. Made a patio. I'm refinished bathrooms and kitchens and shit.
Oh, awesome. How about Mowdown? Is that
Working
something
on a
maybe?
bathroom.
Is Mowdown something maybe we can revisit too in the future?
In Jamaica?
Yeah, wouldn't that be something? Mowdown in Jamaica. Can you imagine?
Call it Mowdown and go to Jamaica.
Can you imagine Chuck Cheo in Jamaica?
I think he was there, wasn't he? Or was he there? I've seen him in so many random places.
He just pops up like Quickie Koala.
Now that he's, a freaking internet millionaire, he just shows up to places.
Pal, I got a great coin for you, pal. You got to jump on it right now.
I jumped on. What was the last thing you got me? You got Shiba Inu.
Yeah, did you get in?
Shibu.
Yeah,
I did. It hasn't really been performing for me since I got in, but
just hang on for a while.
I'm hanging.
Yeah,
I forget about it.
Mm-hmm. The big thing too right now is NFTs. Have you guys explored any of the NFT options?
Yeah. I still don't fully understand what the hell it is. Like I see like people like, this is our NFT, a band, and they show this shitty freaking graphic.
Right.
Like, and someone's buying this from you, that someone wants this shitty graphic, and that's all it is. Why?
That's the mentality going on with the kids these days. A lot of it looks like a third grader drew it, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm like, is there more to it that I'm missing? Is there like some other,
Yeah. Well, something like Joe Bonamassa. Bonamassa did a thing where he created a song, and the song was just for one person. So a non-fungible token was what NFT stands for, right? Fungible meaning one of a kind.
Right.
And he created this song and put it out there, and he made millions off the one song. The cool thing is it puts the power back into the artist's hands, because every time that song, either if the person who owns that song wants to sell it, Bonamassa gets a commission off every time it changes hands. So it's a contracted thing. Yeah, it's a contracted thing. So whoever minted that NFT, they call it minting, whoever designed it, created it, every time it changes hands, you make a good little buck off it on a back end commission type thing.
Damn. That's how I should have done my new songs.
Yeah.
Would have made more money.
You got some coming up. You got some, if you're constantly writing, maybe you should think about doing that.
Right, doing NFT,
and you put like like a personal video behind it or some kind of like artwork with it or something, not just a song. Put a little extra something behind it as well.
Damn. Do you know how to do videos?
It's the way the world. Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, it's the way the world rolls these days. It's like this is how it's changing the game. Are you familiar with Gary Vee at all? That he's an influencer out there. Gary Vaynerchuk.
No.
He was saying that by 2030, yeah, Vanderchuk, however you pronounce it. He was saying by 2030, everything's going to be an NFT. Concert tickets are going to be an NFT, and there's already posters that are NFT. NFT is going to change the game.
How?
I don't know.
How does that kind of work?
I don't know. I got to look more into it, but I've been following him a lot lately, and that's what he's been saying. It's weird too, because I got a buddy of mine who's an artist, and he just will create this piece of work and throw it up on one of these auction sites like OpenSeas, and he'll make like $5,000-$6,000 off like one thing that it took him like 2 hours to make.
Jesus Christ.
Crazy. Yeah, what are we doing wrong?
Everything, apparently. We're talking about what we're doing wrong. We're talking about it and not doing it. That's
exactly.
What the problem
is. Yeah, it's just the way the world is going these days. It's amazing. So, Rob, you do have this new album out on Bandcamp, and yeah. I like the concept that you did. You were writing not really jingles, but you were writing songs for people. Was it easy for you to come up with these songs off the top of your head? Was it?
I wouldn't say it's easy. It was. I kind of treated it like it was a job almost, So not in a bad way, not like a job that you fucking hate, but like I treated it with like discipline. And when a person wanted a song, you know, I came up with a system, and I kind of used that system to make the song. So the material was initially, you know, they would give me the subject matter, which was that's the big one, you know, having the subject matter of a song. So what do you want to write a song about? Like, I don't know. I can sit down and play my guitar. I can play my bass and just come up with a melody left and right. It could be shitty. It could be good. That's just something that just happens. But like having the subject matter for a song. So, you know, that's the hard thing. So I would get the subject matter from the person who wanted the song. And then we'd go from there. They give me a little background on, you know, if it was a song for their wife, you know, let's say as their wife, they'll give me like how they met, what they think about them. And I started to learn how to ask questions about what things would be, you know, what creative things can I get out of this? And I'd get enough material from them that I could just sit down and like the basic, you know, this basic structure for the song would come in a day. And then it would spend about another 2 weeks putting the whole thing together, changing words around, recording, adding different parts until it was done. So the real big thing for songwriting, the hardest thing, is having the subject matter. And when you're writing for somebody, they have the subject in mind. And you can just take any of those experiences. You can take any experience that you have personally in your head and just use that as like as, you know, filler for the stuff that is in their that's for their song or their subject. And that's, you know, something that I've been doing for 30 years, so I know all about that.
It's kind of an interesting spin on Cameo, right? It kind of like because Cameo has been a thing, and I can imagine, like, have you done cameos?
I have, and I found this a lot more rewarding than doing cameos.
Yeah, because cameos, it seems like it get real stale after a while. You know, how many birthday greetings can you do after a while, or how many times can you be like "Happy Anniversary" from your husband Tommy, and like how many times can you get in that? Yeah. So this is a cool little spin on something like that.
Yeah, right. Like, hey, my friend asked me to reach out. How you doing, Z? Yeah, all right. I hear it's your anniversary of you know, washing your balls and. So happy anniversary, Rob Derhak here. You know, you come up with this stupid shit.
Yeah. Was that your radio voice? You just used your radio voice. You said you had like a Casey Kasem overtone.
Over there, everybody. That's right. We're on WZEE. Network.
You sound like you're on WOUR for a minute there.
WOUR, the Rock of Central New York.
See, you could do it, man. You could do some liners.
Oh, yeah.
Was radio something you were ever interested in? I feel like after hearing you do this, you have the voice for
it. I had never really thought about it. I used to love listening to the radio. I enjoyed the radio way more, I think, than actually listening to. I mean, I'd listen to WOUR every single fucking day of my life growing up, and probably more than, well, nobody, you know, more than tapes for a while before I was able to get a tape player. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of lost in thought on that right now. I'm like, did I actually want to do that and just didn't realize that I wanted to do that?
You slipped into a radio voice.
Yeah.
OUR was the shit back in the day too, weren't they? They were like the best station going. Oh, like you tuned in, like they would be like a concert announcement tomorrow at 5:00, and that's where you were tomorrow at 5:00.
Rocking in Weedsport.
Yeah, you know it's summer when they're rocking in Weedsport. That was the shit back then.
But I also heard, like, you know, freaking like Fishbone the first time on OUR, you know.
Really?
Like driving to school. Yeah, Party at Ground Zero was they would do like some, you know, odd, weird sort of song every once in a while, like not Dr. Demento weird, but, you know, like just stuff from left field. And, you know, not only was it classic rock, I remember hearing stuff like, you know, Fishbone and other bands.
Is there any new music out there that you're listening
not
to?
even knowing what it was.
Right.
What's that?
Is there any new music you're listening to these days? Any new bands?
Yeah, this band Blue Star Radiation's pretty cool.
I gotta check them out.
Yeah. What the hell have I been listening to lately? I don't even know. I've been listening. I just got through my Christmas music phase where I just go like all of December. All I do is listen to Christmas music.
Oh my God.
So,
shoot me in the head.
Yeah, you probably would. But I've been doing it every year since I was born, I think. I haven't really been listening to anything new. I've been listening to old stuff, honestly. Like I just, throw on a record, Layla, just listening to a lot of jazz and stuff.
What about when you're in the car driving? What are you listening to?
NPR. Yeah, talk radio, talk NPR. Getting pissed off at them for being, like, I'm not like a right wing guy at all, but I also torture myself by listening to like the woke personalities of NPR and all that bullshit. It's just, I agree more with them. I'm like kind of side with them, but I also get really pissed off about how like absurd some of it is, but I can't stop.
Are you a sports talk guy? Do you listen to sports talk at all?
No, I used to. I got off of that. I'm probably gonna ruffle some feathers, but it just seems really fucking stupid to me to listen to sports talk. Like guys talking about like what somebody may or may not do on the court or on the field, and it's just so stupid.
I hear you, especially guys that never played the game before.
Right, and listening to like Stephen A. Smith screaming nonsense, like what? Yeah, like what? None of this matters. What you're saying doesn't matter. How do you have a job? This makes no sense to me. Like it makes about as much sense as a fucking child drawing NFT getting $10,000.
Have you been paying attention to the NFL playoffs at all?
Yeah. My team just got beat by the Bills last weekend. So
yeah. Who do you want to see in the Super Bowl now that the Patriots
the Bills now?
Yeah,
the Bills. Yeah, I mean, I spent a bunch of formidable years in Buffalo and learned to love them, but just only after the Patriots are out of it. I get a lot of shit from my Bills friends, from my Buffalo friends about liking the Pats and I'm a traitor or whatever, but I didn't grow up there. I'm from New England, I was born in Maine.
How about in the NFC side?
It was good to watch Tom Brady do his thing last year, but I don't really care about him anymore. I just wanted to see it happen once.
Mm-hmm.
I've always liked the Packers as a team, like ever since I was little. So I guess them, but if it came down Packers and Bills, I'm going Bills for sure. What about you?
Definitely love to see Buffalo. I'm not. I've been secretly rooting for Buffalo. I'm a Giant fan, and the Giants sucked for the last decade. So Buffalo, because we are here, I'm 3 hours away from them. I gotta root for the Bills, and I've always been an Aaron Rodgers fan. I like Aaron Rodgers a lot, so I like to see Green Bay in there. San Francisco looks good. I know there's a lot of good teams still out there. We're down to the final 8 teams right now, so it's going to be good. I love this coming weekend because there's always really good football this weekend and then championship weekend. Usually championship weekend sometimes outshines the actual Super Bowl.
A lot of times. Last weekend wasn't good football for most. There was a couple good games. Not for my team. There wasn't. We looked like absolute shit. How did we get sucked into sports talk? I thought I was saying sports talk is bullshit.
You just turned into Stephen A. Smith.
What the hell? Let me tell you something. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of great games that end up being like there's a time where like the AFC Championship was the frickin' should have been the Super Bowl, a bunch of years in a row. I don't know what it's going to look like this year. I mean, if you think about it, if it does end up being Green Bay and Buffalo, that's going to be a hell of a game.
Yeah.
That's going to be a real championship.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I can't think of anybody else in the NFC. I don't know, maybe Tampa Bay, but I don't know. I don't see them making it the whole way, honestly.
And Tom Brady's won enough.
Yeah. I mean, fuck that guy, right?
he is the GOAT, though. He's the greatest of all time, though. And we've got to see him shine so many times. And how many Super Bowls has he been in? And every other year he's in the Super Bowl. So it's time for somebody new to be in there.
I literally got when I was, when he was on the Pats, I was just like, I'm having trouble rooting for my own team at this point, because it's like I've got so used to winning that it's just become boring, and I don't even want to see, like, I start watching the game wanting the Pats to win, and then they start doing, crushing. And then, I'm like, I'm going to start rooting for the other team right now. Like, I find myself subconsciously wanting them to frickin', unless it's Pittsburgh, I've never, never had an issue. I always had an issue with Pittsburgh for some reason.
That, and I loved seeing the Cowboys go down, and the way the Cowboys went down this past weekend was just glorious.
See, when I was growing up, when I was little and growing up in Whitesboro, I was a Cowboys fan.
Really?
Yeah, I wanted to be Roger Staubach. He was my idol.
Did you play football at all growing up?
I did till like 10th grade.
Did you?
Yeah, and then I think partying took over for me. So I played, and Whitesboro had a pretty rigorous football team. They're put a lot. The whole school was like behind it, and I kind of bailed at 10th grade and was like, I think I'm done. Although I do regret it. I talked to my son about it, like, my kids, and I'm like, I wish I kind of just saw it through, because I really loved. I played football from the time I was, peewee, whatever the hell it was. I was like probably in first grade when I first started playing, and played through like every year to 10th grade.
Yeah, I feel like that's the normal consensus around Whitesboro. All these great athletes, but once they started smoking weed and drinking, they're like, all right, I'm done playing sports. I'm just going to party in the woods.
Yep. Is that still the way?
It's still the way, brother. It's still the way.
It has not changed.
There's not much to do in this town, brother. You
can't get a beer ball anymore, so.
No, you can't. No, but you can get a 6-pack. But hey, Rob, before we get out of here, do you plan on releasing your album out on Spotify or any of the other streaming platforms besides Bandcamp?
I don't have a plan right now.
No plan.
I wanted to. Yeah, no, I am thinking about talking about doing some physical copies of it. So if that's the case, then I probably do have to release it on Spotify, because it'll just get there anyhow. So if I'm selling CDs, that'll probably happen. But talking to, I didn't really go about doing this in like an organized professional way. I just started like, now this is here, have it, like I didn't plan any of this. And my manager was like, what the fuck are you doing? Why didn't you talk to me about this first? I was just like, sorry, Lindsay. I was afraid that if I did, you would tell me to wait. She's like, yes, I would have told you to wait.
And do it right.
That would have been the smart thing to do. But yeah, so I'm probably down the road, I might put it out on Spotify if I do a physical release.
Excellent. Do you feel like
no plan?
Do physical CDs sell? I mean, obviously they don't sell as much as they did back in the 90s, but it's something good to have. Like, people want to have something tangible in their hands after a show, right?
That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's not real until it's an actual real.
Yeah.
Until you can hold something in your hand. Like, so even though everybody would probably just download it anyway,
mm-hmm.
It's just a thing where like, it feels like a homemade piece of bullshit unless you actually have a professional CD put out there or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That whole album is like a lost art nowadays. You know, that's what you did. You got a vinyl, you got a CD, you went through the liner notes, you know their grandparents' names, you know everybody they thanked, you know the producer, you knew everything about the band. But that was the only interaction you had with the band because there was no internet back then. Now it's like you go on, you could do a search, you Wikipedia or whatever, and you can find out all this information. But back in the day when we were growing up, all you had was that album.
Yeah, and you memorize stuff that it has no relevance to you on it, like the liner notes, like, you know, props to Bingo for all of the bagels he hooked us up with, you know, and like you just start like imagining who the fuck Bingo is and what he means to, you know, the freaking drummer in the band that or whatever it is. It's something crazy, and you completely like obsess over that little shit. Now there's so much information that you can just get on anybody. It's kind of lost.
Was that hard for you to
kills your imagination?
Was it hard for you to keep up with technology especially when it started to change over?
I'm not great at it. I'm not great. I guess like for recording, I learned how to use all of the necessary gear and programs to record Logic and to program drums and stuff. But my brain is not wired that way. So, you know, I would much rather take a fucking hammer and nail and smash it into something than I would to sit down and be like, oh, I'm recording. So it's sort of, it was a little bit of a struggle. It was years. Everybody else minus Vinny, everybody else in the band was like way further ahead of me for like that sort of stuff. So it took a lot of computer woodshedding, I guess, for me to get to where I needed to be. Vinny still, you know, I don't know if he even has a Facebook account yet. So he's probably smarter than the rest of us.
Vinny's whipping up some pasta dish right now in some kitchen.
And it'll be delicious.
Seriously. Hey, brother, I really appreciate you taking the time with me today. We got to collaborate on that song that I was thinking about back at summer camp, All Out of Fucks to Give.
Oh, man. See, I didn't record it.
See, you got to record that. There you go.
Wasn't there a whole horn line we had figured out?
Dude, whatever. We could put anything together. That's all yours. You take that. You take the ball. I just want a little thank you in the liner notes.
Thank you for the bagels.
Yeah, Bingo, thank you for the bagels. Rob, thanks. Dude, seriously, from the bottom of my heart, man, you guys have been always so good to me, and I love our friendship that we've had, and I cherish it, and thank you for taking great care of me throughout the years, man, and I got a lot of love for the whole Mo family, and I also got to give a shout-out to Paul Satone, too, for spreading this podcast around today, so big ups to Paul and the rest of your crew, and so thank you to all that, and you guys have been awesome, and thank you for the years, and looking forward to more to come.
Thanks, C. Very glad to do it.
You're the man, Rob. Keep in touch, brother. Later.
Stop the United Auto Sales. It's never hard to find a vehicle here. The lot is always loaded with cars, trucks, SUVs. Just take a look. I'll bet we have it, and if we don't, we'll buy it for you. United Auto Sales on Commercial Drive in Yorkville, where it's always easy to do business.